Friends, this is Neha Bajaj. Welcome you all. I'm working with Satyam Darshan Institute of Engineering and Technology, Faridabad, as an assistant professor in Department of Management Studies. So today I'm going to discuss about the topic IPO, which is initial public offering. So let's try to understand the concept of IPO and get some relevant information related to it. Let's get started. So starting with the basic information of IPO. What is an IPO? So the first public offering of equity shares of a company, which is followed by a listing of its shares on the stock market, is called the initial public offer. Through this process, a privately held company is transformed into a public company, which has been raising funds, capital through venture capitalist firms or private equity firms, or it has been raising its funds through debt by going to the bank, availing loans. But nowadays, the company has decided to expand its business and its need a larger amount of capital. So in such a way, the company feels that the funds from where it is sourcing, the sources of the funds from where the company is raising funds as of now is not enough and is not actually cost saving. So the debts are proving to be the costlier and leveraging the business. So company has decided it would raise funds from the public by issuing the shares, by issuing the portion of partnership in the business to the public. What company will do? So in such kind of situation, it has to get listed in the stock market first. So in such kind of situation, it is mandatory for the companies to get listed in the stock market first. So this decision, going to the public, issuing shares and raise the finance, is called as initial public offering. But it is not easy for every company to go for the IPO because the company has to fulfill the certain requirements issued by the SEBI. So apart from that, we can also discuss that the stock market is one of the most lucrative investment avenues in India because the people invest in the stock market because it has the potential to generate handsome returns in smaller span of time. And from the investors point of view, if we talk about the investors, so investors trade in the stock market either through the primary market or through the secondary market. So there are two types of market. The one is primary market and another one is secondary market. So the primary market involves investing in the stock market by applying to the initial public offering. So any company who want to raise the finance from the primary market, so company has an option to go through the IPO. But if any company who is going to raise the finance from the secondary market, so it involves purchasing and selling shares directly from the stock exchange. So any company who wants to raise finance from the primary market, they have an option. They can apply to the initial public offering. But any company who is going to raise finance from the secondary market, the company can sell their shares directly from the stock exchange. So this is a brief introduction about the IPO. So now we need to understand the exact meaning of IPO. So IPO stands for initial public offering. It is the process by which a private company can go public by selling its shares to the public. The company bringing, it can be a new company or an old company. So with initial public offering, the company gets its shares listed on the stock exchange. So it is mandatory for every company with initial public offering the company gets its shares listed on the stock exchange. So this is the main condition. So there are certain guidelines issued by the Securities Exchange Board of India, which is mandatory for every organization. So now the next question, which is very important part in IPO, this is called as initial public offering, right? So why IPO is done? What is the main reason behind it? Why IPO is done? So IPO is basically done for three reasons. The first one is like a new capital. The second one is for future capital, or it can be for mergers and acquisitions. So if we talk about new capital, so we can say that almost all companies who go public primarily because they need money to expand the business. So in case of new capital, it is applicable for all the companies who want to go public primarily because they need money to expand their business, because they need money for the expansion purpose. So second reason could be future capital. So once the public firm have greater and easier access to capital in the future, so it becomes easy for the company. And the third reason can be the mergers and acquisitions. So in such cases, it is easier for other companies to notice and evaluate a public firm for potential synergies. And apart from that, we can also say that IPOs are often used in the finance acquisitions. So in mergers and acquisition, IPOs plays a very important role. Next thing I'm going to discuss about the IPO is why go public, because initial public offering is also called as public offering or going public. So this is also called as initial public offering or going public. So now the concept is why go public. By going public, the credibility and the brand value of the company increases. So when any company who has decided to raise the capital by issuing shares to the public, so company has decided now, the company has decided to raise the finance from the public in such a way. So by going public, the credibility and the brand value of the company increases automatically, because the name of the company being flashed on the stock exchange, it's a matter of pride for the company. So it will increase the goodwill of the company as well. And the second reason maybe for going public is to raise the good amount of cash through the various financial avenues that are offered to the public. So this is very important part which comes under the IPO. And there are certain terms which are very important that we use under this topic, IPO, initial public offering. So these terms can be like primary market, prospectus, book building, or the price band. So these are some important terms that we use in the IPO. So first I'll explain about the primary market. What is primary market? So we know that there are two types of market. One is primary market and another one is secondary market. So first we need to understand what is primary market. So primary market is the market in which investors have the first opportunity to buy newly issued securities as an IPO. So primary market is that place in which the investors have the first opportunity to buy a newly issued security as in an IPO. The next term is, which is very important term, that is prospectus. Now what is prospectus? So while at the time of formation of a company, a formal legal document describing the details of the company is created for a proposed IPO. So any company who is applying for IPO, it is mandatory for every company to fulfill a formal legal document which describe the details of the company, also making the investors about the risk of an investment. And this document is also called as offer document, because through this document we are offering the securities to the general public so that they can check the details in the prospectus about the company so that they can make the decision wisely. Okay, so the next term is book building. So book building is a very important term which is used uh, in IPO. So what is book building exactly? Now we need to understand this term because this is very important term. So book building is the process by which an attempt is made to determine the price. Here we need to decide the price, we need to fix the price, we need to determine the price at which the securities are to be offered based on the demand from the investors. So book building price is basically based upon the demand from the investors. Next term is price band. So price band is also one of the important term, which means price band refers to the band within which the investors can bid. So if I am the investor and there are multiple investors like me who want to purchase the securities of any XYZ company, so investors have the option to bid. So price band refers to the band within which the investors can bid. The spread between the floor and the cap of the price band is not more than 20%. It cannot be more than the 20%. That is, the cap should not be more than 120% of the floor price. So in this case, there are two kind of price. So in short, we can say that there's the spread between the floor and the cap of the price band is not more than 20%. So that is, the cap should not be more than 120% of the floor price. So these are the few terms that comes under IPO, and there is one more term which is also very important term, that is green shoe option. So what is green shoe option? It is referred to an over allotment option, and it is a provision contained in an underwriting agreement whereby the underwriter gets the right to sell investors more shares than originally planned by the issuer or the issuing company in case the demand for a security issue proves higher than expected. And there is one more term, which is the last term I'm going to discuss about IPO, which is called as oversubscription. So oversubscription is a situation in which the demand for shares offered in an IPO exceeds the number of shares issued. So in such kind of situation, the demand for the shares for an IPO exceeds the number of shares issued. So this is called as oversubscription. Now, moving to the next part, there are certain important things that we need to keep in mind before investing. Let's suppose I am the investor and I am going to invest my funds in the securities of ABC company. So I'm going to invest my funds, I'm going to purchase the securities of ABC company. So being an investor, what are the factors or what are the things that I need to keep in mind before investing in an IPO? So there are certain things. So what are those things? So let's discuss about those things now. So the first thing is check the company's background. So being an investor, it's my responsibility to check the company's background first. This is the first requirement of the this is the first requirement that I need to check being an investor, because I'm going to invest my funds in the company's securities. So since the company is coming up with its initial public offering, often there won't be any historical data available to check available to check my decision about investing in the company. However, the company floating it does provide a prospectus. So we must carefully scrutinize and read all the details provided in it before arriving at a decision about investing in the company. So this is my responsibility. Okay. So second point that I need to keep in mind before investing the securities is check the underwriters. So the second point is check the underwriters. So success of the IPO is totally depend upon the big broker who is endorsing the new issue. If the underwriters are well established, then we may look at investing in such offerings. Now the last point is lock-in period. So lock-in period is the next thing that I need to keep in mind while investing in the securities of any particular company. Let's suppose I am going to invest my funds in ABC securities. So I'm going to invest my funds. So I'm going to purchase the securities of ABC company. So the next thing which I need to keep in mind before investing is the lock-in period. So this is very important. So before applying for an IPO, it is important to read the contractual obligation of the company's executives and investors about the lock-in period for their shareholding. And why this is important? There is some reasons behind it. So the main reason is the price of shares dropped drastically after the company completes the offering, as the shareholders of the company sell their shares in the open market once the lockdown period ends. So this is the main reason behind it. Okay, so moving to the last step in this session, which is the very important part of IPO, the process of IPO. It means there are different stages. What are the different steps which we need to follow in IPO? So there are 5 phases, there are 5 stages. So the first stage is, first of all, we need to select the underwriter. So the first step in the process of IPO is select the underwriter. The second step is due diligence. Due diligence part is related to the underwriting or the filings. The third step in the process of IPO is pricing. And the next step, which is the fourth step, is the transition. The fourth step is the stabilization. And the last step in the process of IPO is transition. So now I'm going to discuss all these steps one by one. So please listen very carefully. This is one of the important heading in IPO, the process of IPO, which is very important. So there are 5 stages, there are 5 phases in the process of IPO. So now I am going to discuss all the steps one by one. So the first step is select an investment bank. So this is my first step. So this is the first step of IPO. So the first step in the IPO process is for the issuing company. So the company who is issuing the securities, the company who want to raise funds, the company who is looking for the funds. So the first step in the IPO process is for the issuing company to choose an investment bank. So first of all, if for every company who is applying for IPO, they need to select the investment bank to advise the company on its IPO and to provide the underwriting services, because every company who is applying for IPO, they need the underwriting services. So these kind of services are provided by the underwriters. So the investment bank is selected according to the certain criteria. So there are certain criteria that every issuing company need to keep in mind while selecting the investment bank. So these parameters or criteria can be related to reputation. So first of all, we need to keep in mind the reputation of the investment bank. Or we need to keep in mind the quality of the research and industry expertise, distribution part, if the investment bank can provide the issued securities to more institutional investors or to more individual investors. So we have to look into this thing that if the investment bank can provide the issued securities to institutional investors or the individual investors. Last but not the least, while selecting the investment bank, we need to keep in mind the prior relationship with the investment bank. So there are certain parameters that every issuing company need to keep in mind while selecting the investment bank. So this is our first step in the process of IPO. Now the second step is due diligence and the regulatory filings. So this step is the second step is basically related to the underwriting. So first we need to understand what is underwriting. Then we will discuss about the due diligence or the regulatory filings. But before I explain about the due diligence, first we need to understand what is underwriting. So underwriting is the process through which an investment bank or the underwriter act as a broker between the issuing company and the investing public. So there are two parties here. The first one is the issuing company. So who is the ABC company or the XYZ company, and the investing public. So underwriting is basically the process through which an investment bank or the underwriter act as a broker between the issuing company and the investing public to help the issuing company sell its initial set of shares. And this underwriting arrangements are available to the issuing company, can be firm commitment or the best efforts agreement. So what is firm commitment? Because there are two kinds of agreement. So first one is firm commitment and the second one is best efforts agreement. So firm commitment is all about in such kind of agreements, the underwriter, means the investment bank, purchases the whole offer and resell the shares to the investing public. So in such kind of agreements, what investment bank will do, because here the investment bank is playing the role of underwriter. So what they will do in such kind of agreement, the underwriter purchases the whole offer and resells the shares to the investing public. And in best efforts agreement, what investment bank will do? So what is the responsibility of investment bank, because they are playing the role of underwriter. So under such agreement, the underwriter does not guarantee the amount that they will raise for the issuing company. So in such cases, underwriter never gives guarantee that the amount that they will raise for the issuing company. It only sells the securities on behalf of companies. So their responsibility is to just sell the securities on behalf of the company. Okay. So moving to the third stage, which is pricing stage. So pricing is the third step of IPO. So this is the third stage. Now what is pricing? Let's discuss about the pricing. After the IPO is approved, so once the IPO is approved, the effective date need to be decided. So let's suppose IPO is approved already. Now we need to decide the effective date. So on the day before the effective date, what issuing company will do? So before the effective date, the issuing company and the underwriter decide the offer price. So this is the joint responsibility of the issuing company or the underwriter. So who is the underwriter here? Here the underwriter is investment bank. Okay. So this is the joint responsibility of the issuing company and the underwriter to decide the offer price. So offer price is the price at which the shares will be sold by the issuing company. So they need to select the price, they need to decide the price at which price the shares will be sold by the issuing company to the general public. And what else in this stage? So deciding the offer price is not important. So this is not deciding the offer price is important. This is one of the important decision, because the price at which the issuing company raises capital for itself. Because why issuing company? Because the issuing company is raising funds, right? So when issuing company is raising funds from the public, So they need to decide the offer price, because deciding the offer price is very important decision, because this is the same price at which the issuing company raising the capital for itself from the general public. So this is about the pricing stage. Now the next stage in the process of IPO is the stabilization phase. So this is the fourth stage of IPO process. So fourth stage after pricing is the stabilization phase. So what is stabilization phase? Let's discuss. So once the issue has been brought to the market, the underwriter, who is the investment bank, has to provide analyst recommendations after market stabilization and create a market for the stock issued. So this is the responsibility of the underwriter after the pricing stage. Once the price will be decided by the underwriter or the issuing company, so once the issue has been brought to the market, the underwriter, who is the investment bank, has to provide the analyst recommendation after market stabilization and create a market for the stock issued. And stabilization activities can only be carried out for a short period of time. However, during this period of time, the underwriter has the freedom to trade and influence the price of the issue, as prohibitions against price manipulations are suspended. So these are the main reason about this. So this is very mandatory. So every issuing company has to follow this condition, or with the help of the investment bank. So this is all about the stabilization phase. And the last stage is the transition to the market competition, which is the last step of the IPO process. So we can say that this is the final stage of the IPO process, because the transition to market competition starts 25 days after the initial public offering, once the quiet period mandated by the SEC. So during this period, investors transition from relying on the mandated disclosures and prospectus to relying on the market forces for information regarding their shares. And after the 25-day period lapse, underwriters can provide estimate regarding the earning or the valuation of the issuing company, because thus the underwriter the underwriter assumes that the role of advisor and evaluator once the issue has been made. So this is all about the process of IPO. So there are total 5 stages in the process of IPO. So let's move to the next part, so which is also very important part under IPO. What are the advantages and the disadvantages of IPO? So there are certain merits or demerits of IPO. So let's discuss one by one. First, I'm going to discuss about the advantages of IPO. So the biggest advantage of an IPO is that it fulfills the financial needs of the company. So financial needs of the company means the company who is going to issue the securities to the general public, because the company is looking for the funds. The company has to raise the capital. The company is looking for the funds. Company needs the finance. So biggest advantage of an IPO is that it fulfills the financial needs of the company. So this is the main advantage of the IPO. Financial needs of the company, because it fulfills the financial needs of the company. It is an easy option to acquire capital for its growth and fund a massive expansion. With it, the company can invest in infrastructure and acquire new equipments. It also helps in paying off its debts, because through this, if the company is able to raise funds from the general public, then it becomes easy for the company, because it also helps the company to paying off its debts, and also it helps the company to finance their expansion programs. Okay. And the next advantage of IPO is the shares of the company. Companies are available for mergers and acquisitions. So as we discussed earlier, So IPO also helps in mergers and acquisitions. If the company wants to acquire any other company, so merger is a process in which the acquiring company, like there are two companies. The first company is company A and the second company is company B. So company A is the acquiring company and company B is the acquired company. So company A will acquire the company B. So in such cases, the company wants to acquire any other company. So uh, in such kind of merger and acquisition situation, IPO is very beneficial because the shares of the company can act as a means of payment. Last benefit we can discuss about the IPO is the last benefit of IPO is because it attracts the talented employees also. So because the talented employees, because the company can offer them many stock options and hire them at relatively lower wages. So this is also one of the benefit of IPO. So as of now, we have just discussed only 3 benefits of IPO. Now I am moving to the last point, which is demerits of IPO or disadvantages of IPO. So the first point is IPO is a long process. It's a long process, it's a time consuming process, or there are chances of loss as well. So these are few disadvantages of IPO. So let me explain one by one. So IPO, the first point is IPO is a long-term process because it requires a lot of legal compliance. This actually distracts the company from its core business and it can dent the company's profits, or also companies are required to hire merchant bankers to ease the process of IPO, and return they charge hefty fees. So this is actually a long-term process. So this is one of the main disadvantage of IPO. The second disadvantage of IPO is time consuming because Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is SEBI, conducts many checks before a company floats an initial public offering. So this process can be time consuming and requires huge disclosure. So besides, the promoters are required to submit the details that may be used by the competition, that may be used by the competitors and can hamper their business. So this is another advantage of IPO. Last but not the least, the next disadvantage of IPO is chances of loss. So in this point, we can discuss the business owners who are not able to take as many shares for themselves because they are not in a situation. So many times they may not be able to sell their shares in the market due to the lock-in period. So therefore, their business owners are sometimes at a loss when they float an IPO. So this is also one of the advantage of IPO. I hope this point is clear to all of you. And but not the least, let me conclude about the IPO. So whatever we have discussed till now, what is an IPO, what are the advantages of IPO, what are the disadvantages of IPO, what is the process of IPO. So there are certain key terms or the important terms that we have discussed which can be used in this topic. So now I am going to conclude this topic, IPO. So in short, I would like to say that one should always remember that although IPO is an opportunity to get into a good company from the beginning, but as IPOs happen once for each company, they are presented in a way to get maximum attention. That is why avoid the hype and get into an IPO for a good investment. Okay, so this is all about IPO. I hope this topic is clear to everyone, and please, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you everyone.